Guys, it's Sid again, as usual. And today we're going to talk about armor, because armor is being changed in 1.9. In fact, it's really different than how you'd expect. I had some data that I collected off camera, but then I realized that I'd made a couple mistakes. So, going to test armor, and you're going to get to see that. Or not, if I can't put it in fast forward, because the testing is pretty slow. But the thing about armor is that right now, you might see a leather cap plus 1 armor, plus 2 armor, plus 2 armor, plus 3 armor, and so if I put on a chest plate here, an iron chest plate that gives me plus 3 armor, or plus 6 armor, that gives me 3 armor bits. And so what that used to mean was 24% damage resist. It used to be 8% per armor bit, but that is no longer the case. The formula is now not a percent based on armor bits. It's some really weird, I can't figure it out. There's a formula on the wiki, but that formula is definitely wrong, because if you use, at least right now, if you use it, it gives you negative numbers. So, obviously, since the mobs are not doing occasionally a negative amount of damage, we're going to have to figure out how armor works. And in addition, diamond armor has this stat armor toughness, which is something entirely else. Not going to be dealing with that today because it is, I don't know what. Today is just about the armors that you actually see on your bar. So that's 6 gives you 3. This is 8 gives you 4. This is also 8 gives you 4. So durability on them does not affect the amount of armor points. And in fact, I just jumped in some lava to test. It doesn't, the damage on your armor does not affect how much damage you take. If it's going to block a certain amount, it's going to block that amount, regardless of durability. So that's good. For a couple snapshots at least, that's not how it worked, which was really, really annoying. So the testing setup I've got here is a bunch of zombies. They all do different amounts of damage. So this guy has a base attack of 1, 2, 3, and so on. And I had them with different amounts that was irrelevant. Because it's very rare that you're going to need to know how much damage you block out of, 300. Because that's, 15 hearts. Nothing in the game hits for 15 hearts except a point blank creeper. And that's something that you should just avoid. Don't try and absorb that with your armor. Anyways, so for the testing, I have stone. And what does this stone do? Well, it gives me armor. This piece gives me no armor. 1 bar, 2 bar. Whoops. 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see. And they also all give me knockback resistance. That's so that the zombies don't just kind of bounce me around a lot. And so I'm going to do basically is I'm going to walk up to a zombie. And so with no armor on, and with a base attack of 1, for some reason he does 15. Next guy's going to do 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, and so on up to 165. And I have a command block here that's just giving me instant health so I stay alive. The taken is still correct though, I made sure. Now, from last time, 165 is the same damage as a critical hit from a sharpness 5 diamond axe. So nothing that you're going to encounter regularly should be doing more than that. And at the end, I'm going to build a little graph here colorful graph of armors and damage and percent reduction. So, if I can fast forward this, I'll do that. I don't think so, so I'll probably just cut out the testing. So, I'm done my testing now, and I've made a little bit of a graph here of sorts, where I've got the damages, right? What might do a certain amount of damage-ish. And then, you know, the armor points, 2, 4, 6, 8, because I tested by 2s. So, like, leather pants or iron boots is 2 points of armor. And so what you're seeing here is when you see brick, brick means that your armor blocked less than 4% of the damage. If you have brick, your armor did nothing, basically. And so if you only have like iron boots on, then against any hit harder than 1 heart, it is almost useless, and even against that 1 heart, it's only blocking like 1/10 of a heart. So yeah, you need more than iron boots, basically. At 4 points of armor, this would be if you were wearing like, I guess, a leather chest piece and hat, or slightly less than iron legs. You're going to find it's going to be useless or worthless starting around the damage of an iron sword. So, still no good for PvP. Don't even bother, like, making armor, because it's not helping up here. Now against weak hits, like if you're going to fight, you know, like right in here, this is where you might find a zombie, right? On normal mode, you know, doing about 2 hearts. Then you're going to find that, you know, you'll block a little bit of it. You'll block like maybe half a heart. You know, so on, right? But then actually, once we start getting up into higher armors, like full leather here, and what these represent for the numbers, red wool is 4 to 8% blocked, 0 to 4%, 8 to 16, 16 to 24, 24 to 32, 32 to 40, 40 to 48, 48 to 56, 56 to 64, 64 to 72, 72 to 80, and 80 actually. And I found that no amount of armor gets you better than 80 damage blocking, and in fact that's going up to 26, which is 13 out of 10 points of armor, which does work if you use the attribute modifiers, like on the stone blocks. You can't get there just with armor, and enchantments work different. I don't know how. I'm going to test that for a later video. But ultimately, gold and chain are basically the same, and they work well against weak hits and not so well against strong hits, and that's going to be the story for most armor here. Iron is going to work very well against weak hits. It's going to work okay, you know, block about half the damage on, you know, normal mob hits, right, like zombies or whatever. Iron armor is going to block about half that. And so that's plenty, you know, that's good armor. But the most interesting thing I found is that at 20 armor, which is, you know, the armor points of diamond, you'd expect it to block about 80% for really weak hits, but then for a strong hit, like a, what I've got here as a crit from a sharpness 5 diamond axe, it would only block about, what's this, 50%? 55, somewhere in there? No. That's for better. This is about 40% blocked, so you'd still take, you know, most of the damage, right? You'd still take, what's that, 8 hearts, 40%, you'll still take 3.5 hearts. No, 4.5 hearts. You'll still take 4.5 hearts is what you'd expect, but diamond armor actually is like this. And so, For weak hits, it acts exactly like you'd expect, blocking 80%. But then even for like really strong hits, it still blocks 60-some% of the damage. And I think that has to do with the toughness, but again, that's gonna have to be for a later time. But yeah, here's that picture. Here's the graph for armor and damage. See if I can't get these in here. There we go, yep. And that's a strength 2 diamond shovel, by the way. Does more damage than a critical hit with a sword, but less than a critical hit with a sharpness 5. There we go, screenshot, got the picture for the thumbnail. And yeah, next one is going to be about probably not the armor toughness, because that's only for diamond armor, and there, that's what it does. No more questions. No, but I'm gonna figure out how those shields work. But until then, I will see you later. Bye.